You read people instantly, and it unnerves them when they notice a shift in tone, a pause too long, a smile that does not reach the eyes. You feel it before words arrive, and you know something is off without evidence. They tell you it is imagination. You doubt yourself. Later, the truth surfaces exactly as you sensed it. This happens so often, it stops feeling coincidental. It starts feeling dangerous. This is not normal perception. This is pattern recognition sharpened by necessity. It began early. A childhood room, raised voices behind a door. You sat quietly, listening, learning to read footsteps, breathing, silence. You knew when it was safe to speak and when to disappear. Nobody taught you this. Your nervous system adapted. In school, you watched teachers more than lessons. You sensed mood swings before assignments changed. You knew which classmates were lying, which were hurting, which were pretending. You stayed quiet because saying it out loud caused trouble. They called you distracted. You were scanning. This ability followed you everywhere. Meetings, relationships, crowds. You read the room instantly, sometimes before entering it. The air feels different. Pressure shifts. Your body reacts. This sensitivity exhausts you. You carry information others never register. Micro-expressions, power dynamics, unspoken tension. It piles up quickly. There is a memory of a gathering where laughter filled the room, yet your chest tightened. You sensed conflict brewing beneath the surface. Hours later, the explosion happened. Everyone was shocked. You were not. Being early feels lonely. Underestimation hurt most when they dismissed your instincts. They said you overthink. You trusted logic over intuition. That betrayal of self cost you clarity. You stopped speaking up. You learned to doubt your radar. That silence created guilt. Overthinking replaced action. Shame cycles deepened. There was a night you remember clearly, sitting alone, replaying a conversation, knowing something was wrong but unable to prove it. You blamed anxiety. You were actually correct. Reading people instantly is not magic. It is learned vigilance. ADHD minds absorb patterns rapidly. You notice inconsistencies others gloss over. Your brain connects emotional dots at speed. This is why deception bothers you deeply. Your system detects mismatch. Words say one thing, energy says another. That dissonance creates discomfort. You were taught to ignore it. There is a scene of a broken room after trust collapsed, promises broken, signs missed. You remembered sensing it early and choosing silence. That regret still echoes. This is the psychological break. Realizing your gift was muted, not wrong, you ask a dangerous question. What if your perception was always accurate? What if the problem was not sensitivity, but lack of boundaries and confidence? The rebuild starts here. The first transformation is trust calibration. You stop dismissing your reads. You collect evidence quietly. You observe patterns over time. Intuition becomes informed. A memory returns of noticing subtle changes in someone close. You did not confront immediately. You watched. Truth revealed itself. You felt steadier because you waited. The second transformation is boundary discipline. You stop absorbing every emotional signal. You decide what matters. Observation without ingestion becomes possible. There is a flash of you leaving a situation early without explanation. Guilt rose. Relief followed. That was self-command. The third transformation is strategic use. You apply perception intentionally. Timing improves. Words land cleanly. Silence becomes leverage. You learn that saying nothing can shift power more than confrontation. Presence alone communicates awareness. This recalibration changes relationships. You choose proximity carefully. You stop trying to save people from their patterns. You conserve energy. Emotional intensity remains. Sensitivity remains. What changes is direction. You are not broken. You are not lazy. You were built different. Your brain specializes in human systems. You read between lines because survival once required it. Now mastery refines it. There is a vision of a rising storm you sense early. Others dismiss it. You prepare quietly. When chaos arrives, you are already positioned. This is not paranoia. This is preparedness. Your ability to read people instantly is not a curse. It is an edge sharpened by experience. Untrained, it overwhelms. Directed, it dominates. The world will always try to numb this gift because it exposes truth quickly. You no longer comply. This is only the first awakening. What comes next is learning how to wield perception without burning yourself, and that changes everything. The rebuild begins when you stop apologizing for seeing clearly, not loudly, quietly. You stop calling your perception anxiety and start treating it like data that requires discipline, not denial. At first, this feels risky. You are used to doubting yourself. Trusting your read feels like stepping onto thin ice without witnesses. But the ice holds. It always has. You just never stayed long enough to notice. There is a memory of standing in a hallway, conversation muffled behind a door, your body already bracing before voices rose. You were right again. That accuracy was never rewarded. It was ignored. So you learn to second guess. That ends here. The first real shift is containment. You stop reacting immediately to what you sense. You create distance between perception and response. Observation becomes still. Calm replaces urgency. Power gathers. This is discipline of the nervous system. You notice how often your body reacts before your mind catches up. Tight chest, shallow breath, jaw set. Instead of panicking, you breathe deeper. You let the signal settle. There is a scene of someone testing you subtly. A passive comment, a forced smile. Old you would spiral internally. New you notes it and says nothing. Silence holds the line. The second shift is boundary intelligence. You stop entering rooms that drain you just to prove resilience. You leave early. You arrive prepared. You choose where your awareness goes. This feels selfish at first. Then it feels strategic. A flashback surfaces of staying too long in a toxic environment because you sensed something was wrong but stayed anyway, hoping to fix it. You left exhausted and resentful. That pattern dies here. You learn that reading people does not mean managing them. It means positioning yourself wisely. The third shift is strategic timing. You stop revealing what you see immediately. You wait. You let others expose themselves. Truth surfaces faster when you do not interrupt it. There is a moment you remember clearly. You sensed deception early and chose silence. Weeks later, reality unfolded publicly. You felt calm. Vindication did not excite you. Clarity did. This is maturity of perception. Underestimation still happens. People mistake your quiet for ignorance. Let them. Surprise remains leverage. You no longer need to prove awareness. Emotional intensity still moves through you. Sensitivity remains sharp. But now you decide how deeply to engage. You stop absorbing every emotional broadcast. You build recovery rituals. Silence, solitude, physical movement. These reset your system. Overload shortens. Recovery speeds up. There is a memory of a lonely walk after social exhaustion. Cold air grounding you, your thoughts slowed. You realize distance restores power faster than explanation ever could. Comparison fades. You stop wishing you were less perceptive. You realize numbness is not strength. Precision is. Your relationships change. Fewer people. Deeper alignment. You sense who respects boundaries and who resents them. You choose accordingly. This selectivity creates calm. Calm sharpens perception further. Pressure tests this new control. Conflict appears. Old habits try to resurface. This is where command matters. You slow down. You speak deliberately. You choose impact over reaction. There is a scene of someone attempting to provoke you publicly. Old you would feel exposed. New you stays grounded. The attempt collapses. Power shifts silently. This restraint unsettles people. They feel seen without being attacked. Some withdraw, some adjust. Both outcomes serve you. You begin using perception for creation, not defense. You read audiences. You sense timing. You deliver ideas when rooms are ready. Influence grows naturally. Your intuition becomes reliable because you stopped polluting it with fear. You verify through patterns, not panic. Time blindness still exists. Emotional surges still happen. But now you build buffers. You plan exits. You respect limits. You are not broken. You are not lazy. You were built different. Built to read systems quickly. Built to detect shifts early. Built to navigate complexity others miss. This ability once kept you safe. Now it positions you ahead. The storm imagery shifts again. You are no longer inside it. You are watching clouds gather, choosing shelter or action. This is not coldness. This is control. Your perception is becoming command, and the final phase will demand leadership of that power. Not everyone who sees clearly should speak loudly. You are learning when not to. That wisdom is rare. Command arrives quietly, like a crown placed without ceremony. You do not feel louder. You feel steadier. The ability to read people no longer pulls at you. It stands beside you, ready, obedient. This is where perception becomes authority. You notice it first in your posture, shoulders relaxed, breath deep. You enter rooms without scanning frantically. Awareness expands, but your center does not move. There is a vision that returns now, you standing still while others speak. You already know where the conversation will end. You let it play out. When silence arrives, you step in precisely. This timing changes everything. Your nervous system no longer confuses urgency with importance. You trust your read, but you wait for alignment. This patience turns intuition into strategy. There was a time you spoke too early, emotion raw, insight accurate, but ignored. That memory taught restraint the hard way. Now restraint feels natural. Under pressure you slow down, others escalate. This contrast creates gravity. People orient around calm. This is leadership without volume. Your emotional intelligence now shapes outcomes. You sense resistance before it hardens. You redirect before conflict ignites. You choose silence when words would expose too much. There is a memory of a cracked crown you once wore, believing leadership belonged to colder minds. That crown reforges now, balanced, durable, earned through self-command. You stop explaining yourself. Explanation leaks power. You let actions confirm awareness. Underestimation still exists. Let it. Surprise remains leverage. You move quietly, prepared. Your empathy becomes selective. You no longer bleed for everyone. You choose where compassion creates impact and where distance preserves strength. This selectivity feels like betrayal at first. Then it feels like sovereignty. There is a flashback of staying too long in chaos. Because you sensed others needed you, you left empty. That version of you did not know boundaries were protection. This one does. You still feel deeply. That never leaves. The difference is direction. Emotion informs decision, not reaction. Time blindness still exists. Emotional surges still arrive. But now you build buffers. You design exits. Recovery is swift and intentional. You trust yourself because you stopped abandoning yourself. Comparison dissolves completely. You stop wishing you were less perceptive. You realize numbness was never strength. Precision was. Your work reflects this clarity. Words land cleaner. Ideas arrive at the right moment. Influence expands without effort. People feel seen around you, not analyzed, not judged, oriented. This presence is rare and unsettling. Some resist it, some align. Both outcomes clarify the field. There is a memory of walking away from manipulation instead of confronting it. That choice once felt weak. Now it feels surgical. You do not need to expose truth loudly. Truth surfaces when you allow it space. Your ability to read people instantly becomes a blade you keep sheathed. You draw it only when necessary. This restraint is power matured. The storm imagery shifts one final time. Fire burns clean, steel holds edge. Shadows obey light. The throne was internal all along. You understand the truth fully now. This gift was never meant to make you anxious. It was meant to make you effective. You are not broken. You are not lazy. You were built different. Different enough to sense early. Strong enough to wait. Wise enough to act precisely. The world needs minds like yours in moments of fracture. When truth hides in tone. When power shifts silently. The world needs minds like yours in moments of fracture. When leadership requires perception, not noise. You have lived inside human weather long enough to command it. Stand steady inside that knowing. Protect your radar. Aim it deliberately. Let perception serve creation, not self-destruction. Subscribe to continue sharpening this edge.